There we go. So welcome to the second session of reading the introduction to Schopenhauer's World as Will and Representation. And I got cut off at the 40-minute mark, actually 39 minutes if you go by the recording, on this note, I believe. The notion that our existence and sense of self are poised between embodiment and pure subjecthood plays a vital role at many subsequent junctures in the world as will and representation. This precipice signals that different forms of consciousness are available to us as our sense of self alters. However, Schopenhauer's account of cognition differs from Kant's superficially similar account, in that for Schopenhauer, the understanding or intelligent cognizes the world in a manner that is non-conceptual. Adopting another technical term of Kant's, but altering its use, Schopenhauer maintains that what the understanding gives us is intuition and Xiang, which essentially means perceptual awareness of particular objects in space and time. Are we aware of the objects? Because intuition is just the sense data, yeah, and then the imagination or something brings in the concepts, puts them into, orders them into concepts. How do we know they're objects? Like individual objects. For Kant, the senses give us an array of intuitions. The understanding provides concepts under which the understanding actively ordered the intuitions to produce an experience of a world of objects. Is that an order that must be obeyed, like in the military? Concepts are what the understanding uses to order, like ordinal numbers, like patterns, our affects as intuitions into so that we can participate amongst objects in the realm of space and time and cause and effect. Objects, aka experience, for those embodied beings. Only creatures capable of forming concepts and making judgments could have such experience in the full sense. So possess objects, identify effects, order about objects via space and time. But for Schopenhauer, animals such as a dog or a horse, only a singular exemplar, so it's possible that some animals do form concepts and judge, so that they love the idea of sitting on a lap and even seek out laps, especially when it's cold, who are incapable of forming concepts, are as much aware of the world of objects as any human subject. They perceive objects in space and time as we do, being simply incapable of making judgments, forming thoughts, or carrying out reasoning, and hence being unable to comprehend anything more than what is immediately present in their perception. Empirical objects occupy space and time and causally interact with one another. Yet, below you deny this causal relation. No, Michelle. What's denied? Causal relationship is subject-object. This non-causal relationship, I think, is because subject is not matter. It's not embodied. If it was, there'd be a causal relationship between subject and object. The distinction between intuition and conceptual cognition is one of the things. Is that right? Oh no, this book ideology. How many? 3, 1, 2. That's did I say things? That's the other one. I didn't get much. The second book. The world in itself is will. We are emplaced within representation, therefore we can never know the world in itself. All representation is manifestation of the will as its expression. Third book. The central notion of the third book is the idea that we can access the universal Platonic ideas when we cognize in an out of the ordinary way in will-less consciousness We reach this state of will-less consciousness when we meditate and release our usual striving for ends. Instead, we passively reflect or mirror the world, and this intuitive perception allows us to see the universal forms. This is a kind of objective consciousness. This is the artist's consciousness. The fourth book's topic is ethics. However, it's descriptive of an ethical character rather than prescribing moral duties. To be ethical is a character of one's being. It's not something someone strives to do. It seems to be the following questions that Schopenhauer aims to answer in the book. What attitudes can we have to this life and to this will to life? Willi zum Leben, that constitutes our essence. What is it to affirm the will and what to negate it, and which is the preferable condition? In response, Schopenhauer advises that even though it seems that we are separate individual empirical people and that we act through our own will, he argues that that's not the case. The author's next sentence, the author of the intro, doesn't seem to relate to this argument. It says essentially there's nothing of value to a human which might be given we think we are individual, and we're not. It seems we are not individual and therefore there is nothing inherently valuable to a human. It seems that given will is a pointless striving, existence is pointless too and should be lamented. I would say the whole point is the striving, and we value from our own object what we strive for rather than what somebody says we should strive for, as long as we do it in such a way that doesn't harm another being. If to strive without fulfillment is to suffer, then that attitude is focused on the end rather than the journey. Schopenhauer's equation is the human is essentially suffering, therefore needs redemption and salvation. And to do that, we negate our will. It's very Buddhist. And that's the end of the night. So now it's over to the reading of the Schopenhauer's introduction to the will as representation, the world as will and representation. And I'll start at the heading of the fourth book again, because I don't know where that's particularly. Somewhere around there. In section 53, Schopenhauer opens his fourth book with a general statement about ethics, which he sees as descriptive rather than prescriptive. We are not to expect from him any moral precepts or doctrines of duty. In general, virtue is as little taught as genius, 298, being a matter of the dispositions of one's character rather than the rational possession of rules. The overarching theme of the fourth book is ethical in the broadest sense. It is an attempt to say what is of value in human life, but given the explanation so far of the natural world, of the nature of the world as a blind will, little comfort is going to be available. The life of any human individual as part of this world of will is an inexorable striving that must remain unfulfilled while it briefly succeeds in postponing the inevitable end that awaits its transient existence. What attitudes can we have in this life and to this will to life, Willi zum Leben, that constitutes our essence? That constitutes our essence. Okay, what attitudes can we have in this life and to this will to life that constitutes our essence? And what is it? Attitudes is how you hold yourself in space and time. What is it to affirm the will, and what is it to negate? What to negate it? And which is a preferable condition? In outline, Schopenhauer's answer is as follows. Although we exist as empirical individuals separate from one another and so naturally regard the good as consisting in what we can attain through the activity of our own individual wills, from a metaphysical standpoint, this is a mistaken view. When fully understood, the life of a human individual does not and cannot contain anything of true value. Worse, the existence of everything. True value can only ever be human. There's nothing else that's going to posit value. I'll just have to write that down. Where'd it go? It's not working properly. So I have to paste it. What do I say? I dictate because I only type with one finger. Sometimes two. When we fully understand the life of a human individual does not and cannot contain anything of true value. You working? Value is a human construct. The only thing that can be valuable in this world is human, if there is any value at all. It's human. But because Schopenhauer is saying we're not individual singularities, then we're not special. We're not individual as opposed to nature, maybe. As Silence would say, confer the birth of tragedy in nature. Something you will die soon, so get over your sense of exceptionalism. Big paraphrase, but something like that. Worse, the existence of everything as a manifestation of the pointlessly self-perpetuating and self-devouring will is something ultimately to be lamented. You only lament something if it's of value to you. Value is a human construct. The only thing that can be valuable in this world is human. If there is any value at all, it's human. It's a human value. It is a human value because we're not individual singularities. However, Schopenhauer might be saying, might be saying that because we are not individual singularities, then we are not special, we're not individual, as opposed to not individual, we're not individual, we're not separate from nature, or separate to nature, or separate from nature. Right, from nature. Like Silence says, I'll put a full stop. Why? Silence. Like silence. Us? Is? Silence. I can't remember. Silence. Might be a US. Size? I don't know how to spell. Silence. Silas. Size. Confer. Huh? Yes? Tragedy. Tragedy. I don't know how to spell that. I reckon that. Me too. Let's go. That goes something like. I'll find it quite later. You are. Why do they say my name? You are. You will die soon. Oh, die soon. You will. You will. That's not my last name. And mine's Dykson. Will die soon. So get over your sense of exceptionalism, superiority. Your sense of exceptionalism nature will kill you indiscriminately. Kill you with a chain, Michelle. You indiscriminately. Yes, you don't get special treatment. That's a big paraphrase. That's I don't know about the size. It's a paraphrase. Really? Yeah, paraphrase. Not a direct quote. Don't direct quote me, but it's very similar. It's that kind of message. Look. Confirm, confer. Well, I thought it was related to a tree. And the other bit, can't recollect now. By the way, that's the actual book. I don't know why I went down there. Something in that. Worse, the existence of everything as a manifestation of the pointlessly self-perpetuating and self-devouring will is something ultimately to be lamented. And you do it this way. And then you press paste over here, right there. I don't know why that's doing that. I've got a big computer that's supposed to be 32 gigabytes of memory or something. Worse, the existence of everything as manifestation of the pointlessly self-perpetuating. If something's pointless and valueless, why is it to be lamented? Does that mean it's already valuable? You should lament it. There's some point you should lament it. Otherwise, it's pointless lamenting it. It's like lamenting something pointless. Why would you do that? You wouldn't. To exist as a willing being, if you're willing, there's a point there. If to exist as a willing being is to strive without fulfillment. Depends where you get your fulfillment. If the fulfillment is in the striving, then it's continuous fulfillment and hence to suffer. If you go for the object rather than the journey. Because will is our essence, suffering is essential to all life, and consequently we are in need of salvation or redemption, which can be achieved only by the will within us turning and negating itself. Right there. Well, I don't agree with your argument. I don't give you that. I'll give you that bit. The existence, to exist as a willing being is to strive without fulfillment. No, just to strive. I don't think fulfillment is necessarily to be without. It's like, do you get it? Do you enjoy your glass of wine? Do you enjoy every sip or just the last sip? You know? Did I go through that? If something is pointless and valuable, why is it to be lamented? Lamented. Whoops. Mented. 1M. I just check. Yeah. Does that mean it's already valuable? It's already. It doesn't mean it's. You should limit it there at some point. You should limit it, otherwise it's pointless. Limiting. You should lament it. Lament it. You should lament it. And it. What's he say? Ultimately, something ultimately to be lamented. It should be lamented. It should be lamented. I'll whiz bang whatever it's called that. It should be lamented. Why? Because it's a value. Because there's some value there. There at some point. You should limit it, otherwise it's pointless limiting. Why? Why should you limit? Why? Because there's value. There's something inherently to value. I'm having a hot flush. Existence. There's something inherently to value in existence. It stands limited, otherwise it's pointless. Lamented, otherwise it's pointless. Lamenting is slightly limiting. Lamenting something pointless. Why would you do that? You wouldn't. Yeah, it's probably more direct up some way. If something is pointless, don't trick me again. If something is pointless and valueless, why is it to be lamented? Does that mean it's already valuable? It should be lamented. Why? Because sorry, there's something inherently to value in existence. Limited, otherwise it's pointless. I'll put this up here. I'll take this out. Why is it to be lamented? Okay, I've got that double whammy. Yeah. That one. If something is pointless and valuable, why is it to be lamented? Does that mean it's already valuable? Because there's something inherently to value in existence. Inherent to value. Inherently to value. There's something inherently to value. There's something inherent to value in existence. It exists. Okay. I don't agree with the argument. I don't agree with the argument. I'll just go for a rant now. Or I don't agree with the argument that willing is a striving without fulfillment. I agree that it's a striving, but I don't agree that it's without fulfillment. So that doesn't follow that it's necessarily one of suffering. You could be fulfilled with your striving, like you get fulfilled when you're drinking a glass of whatever your favourite drink is. You don't have to go, oh, wait till the end before you are fulfilled. If you know what I mean. Okay, Matt? Jumped around the place and I can't go into here. Did I say all I needed to say? No, that's only one sentence. I'll wait for this to come up. Because will is our essence, suffering is essential to all life. No, it doesn't follow. It's not valid. It's not a valid argument. Because I can put this in here. Will is our essence. Yeah. Suffering is essential to all life. No. I'm not suffering right now. And it's not essential. I can live without it. Therefore, invalid. If something is pointless and valuable, why is it to be lamented? Does that mean it's already valuable? Because there's something inherent to value in existence. There is. It's called existence. But I don't agree with the argument that willing is a striving without fulfillment. I agree that it's striving, but I don't agree that it's without fulfillment. So that doesn't follow. It doesn't follow. It's not, it doesn't follow that it's necessarily what that existence is necessarily one of suffering. You can be fulfilled with your striving. Like you get fulfilled when you're drinking a glass of whatever your favorite drink is. You don't have to go, oh, wait till the end before you are fulfilled, if you know what I mean. That's good enough for the moment. I've got performance anxiety. And consequently, we are in need of salvation from our suffering. It doesn't follow that existence is necessarily one of striving. You can be fulfilled with your striving. Striving can be a sense of fulfillment, can give a sense of fulfillment. You can be fulfilled with your striving. Upward comma, like you get when you are fulfilled when you're drinking a glass of whatever your favourite drink is. You don't have to go, wait till the end before you are fulfilled, if you know what I mean. Talking of drinks. Therefore, we don't need saving, redemption, salvation. We don't need saving or redeeming. Thanks anyway. In your glory world over that. Gee, that was hard work. I enjoyed every minute though. Schopenhauer argues that oh, wait a second, I missed a bit. Which can be achieved 10 minutes. Bloody hell. It's trouble when you've got an AI assistant, they time you now. Damn, 40 minutes. Bite-sized chunks. It's good to study in chunks, I hear, which can be achieved only by the will within us turning and negating itself. That's a Buddhist thing, isn't it? Now I'm really waiting again. Yeah, salvation. Yeah, to be free of suffering, you don't have a will. Yeah. You just will it away, I suppose. Which can be, Schopenhauer argues that the notion of a highest good makes no sense, but that if we wish to bring that expression back from retirement and apply it to anything, then it must be to the negation of the will. 9. Put down here. C 389. Cessation of desires and wants that relate to the individual we find ourselves as, loss of identification with this individual, elimination of one's personality and one's natural self with its inbuilt attachment to the ends of living and willing, and completion of the whole world with all its strivings and pains from the standpoint of emotional detachment. Gee, this person's a great writer. Not. I'm unsure whether he knows what he's talking about when he's writing. He's just putting the key words together and hoping it makes sense. I've got to go to the whole start of the sentence. Where is it? Up there. With one. Now I'll just go here because it's making me blue. Copy. I don't need a copy of those. I don't know. Doesn't matter. It works. Sometimes. Schopenhauer argues that the notion of a highest good makes no sense. But if we wish to bring that expression, who's we? That expression back from retirement and apply it to anything, is this Schopenhauer talking? Then it must be to the negation of the will. It sounds like Schopenhauer. What's this thing? The negation of the will is the negation of the will. Negation. What's? I'm going to get cut off in a minute. Of the will is cessation of desires and wants that relate to the individual we find ourselves as. Full stop. Whoops, that's my full stop. Full stop. It also includes loss of identification with this individual. Another element. Another. Includes elimination of one's personality or one's natural self. Is that the same thing? Is that a synonym? Oh, we'll just pretend it is. With its inbuilt attachment. Another includes the elimination of one's personality. As one's natural self. I'll strike through that. As strike through. Strike through. As one's natural self. Rushing. Backwards. This way. And I've got a space. This natural self. We all know has this natural self with its built-in attachment to the ends of living and willing. You'd think willing would come first, but anyway. Because if you're the end of living, then there's no willing anyway, so that's a given. So why do you include that? And contemplation of the whole world. This natural self with its inbuilt attachment to the ends of living and willing and with its inbuilt attachment to contemplation of the whole world, saying the same thing, with all its strivings and pains. From a standpoint of emotional detachment, how much time have I got left? 20 minutes, 4 minutes. Has he just like gone through maybe a chapter and pulled out these phrases and then put them into one sentence, but he doesn't know what he's actually saying because he can't write it clearly? Schopenhauer argues that the notion of a highest good makes no sense. But that if we wish to bring about that expression, if we wish to bring that expression back from retirement and apply it to anything, then it must be to the negation of the will. And this is an explanation of the negation of the will in one sentence. Yep, he has taken key phrases from the book and put them in there, and he's got no idea what to say other than what's written in the book. He doesn't understand, even though he's written on it and be published about it. The publisher doesn't know anything about it, so they don't know. It's all written in the text, Michelle. Just read back over it. Oh, my name's not Michelle. It's time. So I have to come down from a very angry spot. No, I'm not that angry. I'm just annoyed, just disappointed. I have to sit through that. For fuck's sake. It's not how you write a sentence. It's not even a compound sentence. It's triple compound sentence with backflips and turtles. Fuck, weird. Subject, object, verb. All right, we'll turn it on so I can say the subject, object, verbs. Is it? Yeah. Verbs, noun, subjects, conjunctions. Right word is it? Joining words. And the white ones haven't been identified. We're cessation of desires and wants that relate to the individual we find ourselves as. It also includes loss of identification with the individual. Another includes elimination of one's personality as one's natural self. This natural self, with its inbuilt attachment to the ends of living and willing and contemplation of the whole world and all its strivings and pains from the standpoint of emotional detachment. How many verbs are missing in that sentence? This will is a keyword that I just plugged in, trying to figure out what the plugin does, and it just highlights keywords. That's a keyword highlighted. I'm glad he's the translator as well as the introduction writer, I believe. There's 4 translators or something. I'm just going to make him here. In the time of less than a minute, I didn't get back to the top. Chris